She smiled as she spotted Katie and Joe talking to their parents with the seriousness of newly graduated adults, looking nothing like the drunken, loud yobbos they could be when they weren't studying. Her eyes fell on Jono with a familiar stab of longing. He looked so handsome in his suit and tie. She'd only ever seen him dressed so formally once before, at Corey McLeod's funeral. She felt a pang of sadness thinking of her friend who hadn't made it to graduation. He'd been killed in a car accident in the first year of their ag course. His death had been devastating to his friends. Suddenly, the door in the room flew open, startling Amanda, who looked around to see Hannah coming into the room. Her friend looked so unlike her usual wild, straggly self as she rushed into the room, dressed in a black graduation robe and blue sash, her flyaway blonde hair swept up under her mortarboard. "Why are you hiding?" she demanded, her eyes bright with excitement. "I'm not. I'm just watching everyone," said Amanda, turning back to the window. Sensing Amanda's somber mood, Hannah moved over to the window and put her arm around her friend's shoulder. "Are your parents here?" she asked. "Of course. You don't think Mum would miss it, do you? I haven't seen them yet, but they're always running late. They probably snuck in after the ceremony started and have run into one of Dad's old mates," said Amanda, smiling wryly to mask her concern. "Well, come on then. You can look for them later, Miss Ducks. Right now you're needed for the class photos and drinks. That's actually why I came to find you." "And here I was thinking you cared," said Amanda with a smile. She followed Hannah out of the room, switching the light off behind her. Arranging themselves in front of the camera, the class of 2000 smiled and called out, "Bundy!" while their families looked on proudly. Between shots, Amanda searched for her parents. Forcing a smile, she was hardly aware of the camera clicking and whirring as more photos were taken of the whole class, then a series of the ducks of Agribusiness with the recipients of the 3 agricultural awards and their teachers. As the final shot was taken of her with the high achievers from the university's other courses, Amanda caught sight of 2 policemen speaking with the dean. The look of shock on his face as his eyes searched the crowd told Amanda the story, and without thinking, her feet carried her to them. Hannah followed, motioning for Jono to come with her. They were by Amanda's side to hear the news and gather their weeping friend to them, the graduation celebrations forgotten. Amanda sat next to her father in the church, her mother's coffin resting on a gurney in front of them, her uncle speaking at the pulpit. Although cheerful flowers matched her mother's vibrant personality, Amanda had to close her eyes against the pain she felt looking at them atop the coffin. She could hear her mother's laughter, see her flashing eyes, and feel her arms around her. It wasn't until she felt a touch on her arm that she realized the pallbearers were making their way out of the church and onto the cemetery. Consumed by her own thoughts, she hadn't heard a word of the service. She walked by herself to the hearse, tears clouding her vision. Her father's rigid posture and continuing silence were unnerving. Struggling with his grief and guilt, he had locked himself away, leaving Amanda to cope with the funeral arrangements. She felt like she had aged dramatically in the 2 weeks since the accident. She would never forget seeing her mother in the coffin, cold and unresponsive, her scars from the accident cleverly hidden. The lady at the funeral home had helped do her mother's hair and makeup, but it was Amanda who had chosen her outfit and fastened the silver bracelet that had been a gift for her 40th birthday on her lifeless wrist. It was hard to believe that only 2 weeks before, she had been so full of hope and optimism for the future. Choking back a sob, she ran to her car and sped away. Chapter 2, 2001. Amanda swung the pick, which bounced off the manure that was packed solid under the